There exists a hidden current running beneath the surface of human consciousness, a paradoxical truth that the greatest wounds often contain the seeds of our most formidable strengths. This isn't the saccharine positivity of self-help platitudes, but rather the razor-edged wisdom of those who have stared into the abyss and emerged transformed. What if I told you that every betrayal, every heartbreak, every moment of soul-crushing defeat you've endured wasn't merely suffering to be overcome, but raw material waiting to be forged into unshakable power? The ancient samurai understood a fundamental truth that modern psychology is only beginning to grasp. True resilience isn't built in the absence of adversity, but through the alchemical transformation of adversity itself. Your mind possesses this same capacity, not through naive affirmations, but through what I call psychological Aikido, the art of redirecting life's attacks into sources of unimaginable strength. Consider for a moment the peculiar nature of psychological wounds. Unlike physical injuries that heal with time and care, emotional traumas persist in our nervous systems as charged energy, not merely as scars, but as dormant power sources. The rage that still simmers from that betrayal 5 years ago, that's pure energy. The hypervigilance left by childhood instability. That's a finely tuned radar system. The emotional calluses from repeated disappointments. Those are your psychological armor in formation. The process begins with what I term shadow mining, the deliberate excavation of these buried psychological resources. Most people spend their lives running from their pain, numbing it with distractions or locking it away in mental vaults. The psychological Aikidoka does the opposite. We go digging through the wreckage of our past with the precision of archaeologists, not to wallow in suffering, but to recover the precious ores of strength buried within each experience. Take the case of Daniel, a client who came to me after being ousted from the company he built over 15 years. The betrayal left him clinically depressed, unable to trust, convinced his best years were behind him. Through psychological Aikido, we didn't just help him recover, we transformed that experience into his greatest asset. That betrayal became his masterclass in corporate politics. The depression taught him emotional endurance beyond anything he'd known. Today, he runs a consulting firm specializing in exactly the kind of corporate maneuvering that once undid him, earning triple his previous income while working half as much. This is the essence of psychological Aikido. Not bouncing back, but bouncing forward with compound interest on your suffering. The methodology rests on 3 pillars. The trauma refinery, a systematic process for distilling painful experiences into their component strengths. That abusive relationship, it's not just pain. It's advanced training in reading microexpressions, detecting deception, and establishing boundaries. The shadow integration matrix, where conventional therapy seeks to heal or process trauma, we go further. We identify the exact psychological muscles each trauma forced you to develop and incorporate them into your active arsenal. The Phoenix Protocol, a graduated exposure system that transforms your relationship with pain itself, teaching you not just to endure challenges, but to metabolize them into power. The neuroscience behind this is startling. When we consciously reframe traumatic memories while in specific brain states, particularly high-theta/alpha states achieved through certain breathing techniques, we can literally rewire the emotional charge of those memories. The event remains in your history, but its psychic energy gets redirected from haunting you to empowering you. Consider the phenomenon of post-traumatic growth. Those cases where individuals emerge from horrific experiences with greater resilience, deeper wisdom, and heightened capacities. Psychological Aikido makes this the rule rather than the exception. Through precise mental frameworks and neuro-linguistic reprogramming, We can engineer post-traumatic growth on demand. The applications are limitless. That's social anxiety from childhood bullying, reframed as your built-in sensitivity to group dynamics, invaluable for public speaking or negotiations. The perfectionism that's been paralyzing you. That's your quality control mechanism waiting to be deployed strategically rather than compulsively. But this path demands courage most don't possess. It requires staring directly into your darkest experiences without flinching, then calmly extracting their hidden gifts. You'll need to develop what I call alchemical vision, the ability to see not just the pain of an experience, but its latent potential energy. The transformation occurs in phases. Phase 1. The inventory. We conduct a ruthless accounting of every significant trauma, betrayal, and failure in your history, not to dwell, but to assess, like a general surveying captured enemy weapons that could be turned against their former owners. Phase 2. The reclamation. Here we extract the precise skills, insights, and capacities forged in each crucible. That toxic relationship, it taught you boundary setting under fire. The career setback, it developed your risk assessment abilities. Phase 3. The reconfiguration. Now we install these reclaimed strengths into your active psychological toolkit. This isn't positive thinking. It's strategic redeployment of already existing. Phase 4. The feedback loop. As you begin operating from this new foundation, the world responds differently. Challenges that once would have crushed you now become fuel. People who once manipulated you find you mysteriously immune to their tactics. The ultimate goal, to reach what I call trauma immunity. Not the absence of pain, but the ability to instantly convert any adversity into advantage. At this level, you don't fear challenges. You begin unconsciously attracting them because your nervous system has learned they make you stronger. This is the open secret of history's most resilient figures, from Viktor Frankl to Nelson Mandela to the countless unnamed survivors who've turned unimaginable suffering into unshakable strength. They weren't superhuman. They simply discovered, often through necessity, principles we can now apply deliberately. The work is demanding but straightforward. Each day, take one painful memory and perform this simple exercise. Recall the event in vivid detail. Identify 3 specific skills or strengths this experience forced you to develop. Visualize these capacities as tools you now possess. Plan how to deploy one of them in the coming week. Within weeks, you'll notice a profound shift, where once these memories triggered pain, you'll begin feeling power. You'll catch yourself reflexively scanning new challenges for their hidden advantages. You'll develop what special forces operatives call stress inoculation, the ability to remain calm and resourceful under pressure because pressure has become your growth medium. This isn't about denying pain or pretending suffering doesn't hurt. It's about recognizing that the same experiences that can break us can also remake us stronger than before, if we have the courage and wisdom to wield them properly. The choice is yours. Continue seeing yourself as a victim of your past, or recognize that those experiences were actually forging the weapons for your future victories. The steel is the same, only the framing changes. And that reframing makes all the difference between a life of limitation and one of expanding power.